Hello everyone, this is Code with Vlad, and in this video we are going to talk about Redux and especially Peasy, which is a library that extends Redux, that is built on top of Redux, and it allows us to build Redux store very easily. In this video we are going to install Create React App with TypeScript and Peasy, and we're going to learn how to configure it. So before we start, I think it's useful to go back to what a store is. So when you build an application, you save some information in the store in a kind of a brain of your app. And traditionally it was used with local storage, session storage, stuff like that. So if we go to this website, for instance, and we inspect the application here, we see that the local storage has some information saved here. And that's a way, but when your application grows, you need a robust way to actually change stuff, to see what went wrong. If something went wrong, you need basically a better way to organize and track all that information, especially the changes. And this is where the store management actually comes into play. First, React introduced Flux, which was a very complex stuff, but it helped to manage the store. Then we had Redux, and Redux went so popular that everyone now is using it. But it's still a lot of boilerplate. So if we check the Redux here, they have a website, they have the documentation, but it's very hard for beginners. There's a lot of code to write before you even can start creating the logic of your application. Then you have something else called the Redux Toolkit. It kind of mainstreamed and helped a bit with that, made it a bit more easy, but it's still not that. But Peasy is really amazing because it allows you to create stores, like brains for your app, very easily and almost no boilerplate. We're going to see it soon. So before that, I just want to show you an example of a store. So if we go to Airbnb, I use Redux DevTools, Redux DevTools extension here, so I can examine the store of that application. And they haven't disabled it for some reason, so I can check that it can be quite complex, but this is not a lot, it can be really complex. So if we click here, whatever, you will see that you're supposed to have some stuff. So we're going to wait until it loads. Okay, shame on you, Airbnb, shame on you, you are so slow. Okay, I just made another research and that works now, and you see that you have stuff happening here, and you have the state, and you have like here, some data here, a map, you have, basically that's the state of your app. That's the state of some of this data here is what you see here and how the application actually reacts to you. So that's a way to organize your application, the store. Now we're going to see how we actually do it. Let me close that. I'm going to use Create React App because I don't want to deal with boilerplate. You can create your own custom React project, but we're going to use a framework that allows us to generate one for us. And we're also going to use TypeScript because it helps so much with the development experience. We're going to use that as well. So the first thing is you should probably install the Create React App if you don't have it, but I do have it installed globally, so I can just do Create React App, and I'm going to install my project here. Inside that folder, I'm going to use a template and template TypeScript. This will take some time to install. Okay, now it's done. I'm going to open that project in VS Code, so code dot, and we'll close my terminal. What happened here? Okay, and I'm going to break the screen in two, so everything is more or less clear. The first thing I'm going to do, and here's the thing guys, I will try to make this project as if it was a production project. So that's the issue I have with most development like tutorials, is that they show something in the context of a tutorial or a demo, but not something in the context of a real app. So when you build your real production app, you see something online and you think that that's the way it's supposed to work or it's supposed to be implemented, and that might be not the most optimal way or not suited at all for production. So that's why I'm trying to build this stuff as if I wanted to build something in production. So I will try to make it clean. The first thing I will do is that I will get rid of the git file, rmrf git, and I'm going to init my own git init, and I'm going to eject this app. So I want the configuration file of React. It's because I want to install other frameworks like Tailwind CSS, and I want hot reloading as well. A bit later we're going to configure that. So for that we need to inject the app, and it's better to actually eject the app before, so we won't have any conflicts or whatsoever. Npm run eject, and we'll just, yes, okay, you know what, I'm going to remove the git file completely. Npm run eject, so annoying. Yes, here we go, and now we have a folder script and a folder config with the webpack config that create React app uses, and that we don't need to touch that, but at a given point we will just include a couple of lines here just to import the things I want to import. Okay, now we can install easy peasy. We can close that, we don't need. Npm easy peasy, and easy peasy comes with its TypeScript typing, so we don't need to install typings separately. Usually when you install a JavaScript library with TypeScript, you need to install typing separately, something like install development types and whatever, like for instance this one. But some packages come with types directly inside, so that's good. So that means that we don't need to install the types. Okay, it will work out of the box. Okay, let's okay, so let's start the application. It's working, so it's already good. The first thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to delete that fancy thing. Yeah, we don't need that. We don't need the app.css or the logo, and we can get rid of the test file as well. App.css as well, logo as well, and that's it. Maybe I go to index.css, delete that. We don't need that styling. Okay, keep things simple, minimalistic, so we can really focus on what is important for us. And what is important for us is building the store. So again, easy peasy allows us to build the brain of our app, and any component can connect to that brain, interact with it, get information or modify it. So it's like one big database for your whole UI. You don't need to store a bit of information in one component, a bit of information in another component, then figure out how the fuck are you going to make everything work together. So plus it's very easy to set up, so we're going to do it now. Let's create a folder called store. Inside the store we are going to create index.ts, so the basic default import for that folder. We need to create a store, so we need to create to import create store from easy peasy. Create store, and const store is equal create store, and basically here we can put a JavaScript object, and it will be our memory, our JSON if you want, of our app. Yeah, so we can say something like name to be Vladimir, and course learn easy peasy. Right, we're going to export it, export default store. Here we go, and import it in index.ts. So we want to propagate that store to our app, and the way to do it is to first import the provider from easy peasy. store provider. And you see, this is why TypeScript is so great. I just type and it shows me what do I have available here and what I can import. And it even shows me the documentation of that code. So, I mean, relative documentation, but you have an explanation of what it is, and you have an example of what it needs and what it extends. You see here that it needs a store object, and it needs a store model, so we need to pass that. Here we go, store provider. We need to wrap our application with a store provider, so the Easy Peasy store will be provided to all our application, which will live in app. And we need to provide the store, import store from store. Store. Okay, let me actually hide that. So we import the store and we say we inject the store into the provider. Oops. Here we go, and it works. I mean, it is compiled, so it works. And now we have that button that lights up, and that means we have a store, a Redux store working. And what do we see? Vladimir and course learn Easy Peasy. So that works. We have injected our store inside our app. Now let's go into app.ts and write something, because now we have a blank screen. Hello world. Okay, we have hello world. So what if we want to say hello Vladimir and we want to use like this name, but we can say hello Vladimir, this is learn Easy Peasy. So this is a common case where you need to get the information from the store. So it's a getter. We want to get that information. The way to do it in Easy Peasy is to use hooks. This is a functional component. Before, we used React components where we would have component did mount and different hooks, different life cycles, I would say. In these functional components, you need to use hooks. So that's very good because Easy Peasy comes with hooks. The hooks Easy Peasy has are several of them, but you will use mainly two: use store state and use store actions. Use store state will allow you to get the information from the Easy Peasy store. And again, don't forget that beneath Easy Peasy, it is Redux, so it's just Redux on steroids. And you'll be able to get the information, and this is where you will be able to set and change the information of the store. So let's say you want to change the name of Vladimir to something else. This is what we will use. But for now, let's just stick with state. So we want to get the name. Here is the store, like the store, global store object, and then we are going to export it. It's JavaScript syntax, so should not be very magical if you know a bit of JavaScript. And that's the thing, if we import the name, we can import it, and we can even say something like that, hello Vladimir, and you see that it works. And let's create another one. This is course. This is learn Easy Peasy. Okay, it works, and it will work with JavaScript, but we are using TypeScript. And the main advantage of TypeScript is auto-completion and IntelliSense and types, basically, that allow all that. So that's a shame, because here, I don't know, I could type names, and it won't even tell me that I'm doing the error. I will do something like that, and it will return me nothing, which will be undefined. And that's the big problem. Imagine you have not two variables, you have 1,000 of those. Let's be crazy. Or you have even worse, you have an object. So you have something like I don't know, courses. Then you have ID 1, and then you have name, I don't know, first course, and then you have users, and then and it all goes down, and it's a big message object. And imagine how painful it will be to actually remember that you need to do, I need to do course dot first dot users dot, and there's no way for you to actually tell if you're doing a mistake or not, or what happens if suddenly you decide to modify your store and now it's not users, it's user, and you reference that in 15 components in your application. You are doomed, because you're going to have those big React errors, and you're going to debug it one by one. While if you use TypeScript, all that can be avoided. So we are going to learn how to do it here. Let's get rid of courses and put name. Okay, if you are using TypeScript with easy peasy, you just need to configure those hooks to use that model as an interface. And let's see what that means. We go to docs, TypeScript API, create typed hooks, and basically gives us, just an example, we can copy paste, and let's create hooks file, hooks.ts. We're going to basically overwrite, kind of replace the hooks that easy peasy provides with our custom hooks, our typed hooks. So basically we'll have autocomplete on hooks. Let me illustrate what that means if it's not clear. Okay, don't need that. I don't want to export it default. I need to export it non-default. And okay, here we will import the model. Usually a good practice is separate the model. So this thing is to separate from the file. So we're going to put it here, and we're going to call it models, because we can split the models. Let's say you have app model, user model, settings model, and so forth, so forth, so forth. So since we're building as in we were in production, we need to think about that, because this is what you are going to encounter. I hope that you will not create a big store with 1000 lines of code of store and functions. It will be a mess. So we need to really separate it. We're going to see it in further videos. For now, let's keep it simple. Let's just move that object to here. Index.ts. Okay. We need to create the object. So const model is equal. Here we go. Okay, that's fine, but that still does not give us the interface. In TypeScript, we use interfaces, and for TypeScript to allow you to use IntelliSense and auto-suggestions, we need to provide what shape of the object it is. So here is name, course, and every time it's a string. So interface, let's call it store model, and it will be name of type string and course of type string. We just will say that this model is of type of this interface. It uses this interface, and we need to export the interface. Very well. Now in hooks, we need to import that file, so we can just say models, and it will automatically import the index. That's a JavaScript behavior, so nothing special here. And here we need to import model from models, model. And that won't work because we need to export it as default, export default model. Here we go, and now we don't have any errors and it works. So basically what we did here, we have defined the main model, we have imported the model in the store, we have created the store out of the model, and we have extended these hooks with our interface. So now when we are going to use the hooks in our application, we will have autocomplete on those variables. So TypeScript will find the names and everything for us. So how nice it is. That means that now we can do something like name, and it will kind of autocomplete for us, right? Well, here it does not do it because we export the hooks from easy peasy. What we need to do is export the same hooks from our hooks.ts file. So simply change it to hooks store hooks. And now, it works. So we have name and we have course, and yeah, that's basically why TypeScript is so useful. It is that it avoids so much errors that can happen, especially when your application becomes bigger. I think that will be all for this tutorial. I hope it was useful. I hope it was clear. I tried to make it clear. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section below. Again, if you like those videos, like it, share it, subscribe to it. More will come, and see you next time.